Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Professionals You Should Know. This show is about uncovering the journeys of professionals from different industries. And today, we have the captivating and insightful Nini Pasatam, who is an art director. So it's a pleasure having you here. Thank you for joining.
No worries. Thank you for having me, man.
Anytime. So, what is it that you do?
Good question. Well, I'm an art director, stroke creative director, and my background is advertising.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. So art directors come in many different flavors. So they come, you have art directors for, say, film, you have art directors for animation. I'm an art director in advertising. That's the specific creative sector that I work in. Yeah.
Okay, so how does it work?
Well, what I do is I focus mainly on the look and feel of things. I think it's probably best if I rewind it a little bit more and kind of break down advertising, because I think there's at this time when people kind of mix up terms like advertising, marketing, PR. And
right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They're not interchangeable. They're all different disciplines.
Oh, okay. So okay. What's the difference between like the advertising, marketing, PR? Yeah.
No worries. Well, I'll start with marketing. Right. Marketing is more of the strategy. It's more of the products that want to sell, or an issue you want to make people aware of. That's marketing. Right. Advertising is the creative and the communications around it. Okay. So with marketing would like, I want someone to buy X amount of this product. Right. Or I want someone to get involved in this particular course. That will be the marketing side of it. Right. Advertising is the creative that's made in order to communicate those particular goals. So that is the biggest difference. PR is when you have a company that endorses you. Marketing is you endorsing yourself, right. And PR is another company endorsing you. So that's different. So that's very, very different from marketing.
So like with you saying that the advertising is that like commercials.
It's part of it. It's part of it. I think. Advertising, you can break it down into quite a few things. So again, if I tell you a little bit from my personal experience, I started off in digital when digital was up and coming. But traditional advertising is billboards. So billboards are the ones you see like motorway or totems that you see in like shopping malls and whatnot.
Right.
Then you have adverts. Obviously, we call them TVC, TV commercials. But then it extends into radio, and then it extends obviously on digital. You know, you get those banners on websites and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay,
all of that is classed as advertising. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's letting you know what it is that a brand wants you to know, basically. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you always work with brands to get their you always work with companies to get their brands established or in the wider population.
Yeah, it's more than that. It's more than that. Advertising is supposed to do three things. One of three things, right? So it's either to inform, it's either to remind, or is to persuade. Yeah. So what a brand would want you to do is one of those three things. So if you take a very well-known trainer brand, right? They don't sell the product per se. They don't say, come and buy our trainers. Right. What they would do is they'll sell the lifestyle around it. So they will sell the proposition as like, if you believe in something, then you should stand for it, even if it means you lose everything, So that's where they come from. That's what they want you to know, that this particular sports brand is not just about sports, items. Right. It's more about this is what we believe, and this is what informs how we make our products. Right. So can you see the difference? Yeah. It's not just this is what we sell, you just buy it. It's more like, no, this is what we stand for, and if your values align with ours, then you'll buy more of our stuff.
So what does a day-to-day look like for you? Like,
it really does depend on the brief. Okay. And the brief can come in kind of like ask us for many different things, or it can ask us for one thing. Right. So it can ask us just for a TVC, so a TV commercial.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Only. That's the only thing we would do. It's unlikely because there's so many different ways that you can get advertising out now. You know, there's like, you know, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Right.
Or even outside advertising, which we call brand activations, which are physical events that you can go to.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so there's lots of different things you could do. So it would depend on the brief. So if we're asked to do one thing, we'll just focus on one thing. If we're asked to do lots of different things, then we'll focus on coming up with one overarching idea.
Right.
And then after that, we would craft the idea so it works across all those different touch points. So on a day-to-day, I would work with, say, the planning team and the marketing team if I'm in an agency.
Right.
It will just be marketing if I'm working directly, say, with an entrepreneur or working with a brand directly, as opposed to going through an agency, which will look after these brands.
Right.
And once we have all the insights from the marketing team and the planning team, which is just basically a fuller understanding of who exactly we're talking to,
Right.
and what it is that we're trying to do for the client. So as the three things I told you before, so we're either trying to inform them, we're either trying to remind them, or we're trying to persuade them. Yes.
Yeah,
So
right.
it'll be one of those three things. What I particularly enjoy is doing the inform campaigns, which is essentially what we call awareness, brand awareness, or it could be awareness about a particular problem.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I was looking at some creative work that was done by some younger creatives talking about skin cancer amongst black people.
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
yeah. So the insights that came from the client told us that a lot of black people assume that because they have a lot of melanin in their skin, it's something that they're immune to, and that's simply not the case. So this particular campaign was meant to inform the community that you can still get this. So you have to be careful about how you treat your skin, whether you use sun cream, that sort of thing. So that was judging that with the younger creatives. So when I get my own briefs, depending on what we're asked to do. Once we have all the insights, you know, who we're trying to talk to, what age range they are, and where they hang out basically, either online or in real life. Once we have all those insights, we can then define the problem. And once we've really defined the problem, then we start looking at the solutions.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the creativity comes in. So we're like, how can we solve this particular problem, which is make the black community, say, aware of this particular issue that they might not know about.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of my day to day. So once we've come up with all of the different solutions, it won't just be me. It will be depending again on who I'm working with.
Right.
Traditional advertising usually has art director and copywriter. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So art director, in that traditional sense, art directors look at the visuals. So I'll look at how everything would look. Is it going to have a really dark, gritty feel?
Okay.
Is it going to have a nice, light, airy feel? Is it going to use real people? Is it going to use models? That sort of thing. That's what I will come up with.
Right.
And then my copywriter partner that I usually work with will come up with the copy lines, as in the words that would either inform the visuals, and they work together in order to get out the message that we're trying to get out. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. And how many people generally would come under like one campaign in a sense?
Good question. Again, it's a good question. It depends on the size of the brief and the size of the brand.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So if I was to, because I've worked with quite a few big ones. So P&G. Unilever, Sony, Cadbury's. Yeah, these are some of the clients that I've had, and I can mention them because I've done work with them. So it depends on the size of it. Sometimes if the campaign is smaller, then it will be smaller teams.
Right.
But sometimes if the campaign is a large one, for example, you have an American brand that wants to open up an offshoot, say, in the UK, that would require a really large team. So a large team of planners, marketers, and then creatives like myself. You're looking about 2, 4, 6, about 8 of us.
Oh, really?
Coming up with as many ideas as possible. Yeah.
But is there like any like conflicting? Because I would think, you have an idea and someone else has an idea. Oh, but that's only in a big team, I'm guessing.
No, everyone will have ideas, and I think it's interesting that you say that, because it's not just the creative team who will be creative. Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone can come up with ideas, because everyone will have a different understanding of how to solve the particular brief.
Right.
But what we will do is take everything on board and then come up with ideas that you'll be able to run across all these different touch points. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Nah, okay.
So in terms of competition, there's sometimes competition. It's like there will always be a competition with one who will bring the best idea, and two, whose idea would the client pick at the end of the exercise. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's interesting. So how did you become an art director? Like, what's the journey?
Good question.
Good
question. Oh my goodness. If I'm honest with you, I kind of tripped and fell into advertising.
Okay.
Yeah. But I've always known I've wanted to be creative. Always, since I was very young.
Right.
And I studied because of the nature of what I do. It's very creative. My parents, being African, were like, we don't understand. We don't understand what this is. So please go and do maths and physics, which is what I did.
Oh, you did maths and physics?
I did maths and physics. Yeah.
Really?
I did maths and physics. Yeah.
As in what? In A levels or in?
I did. Yes, I did double maths, computing, and physics at A level. Yeah. I barely passed any of them. Barely. Yeah. I did it because my parents wanted me, obviously, to go into a career that was stable.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But I don't use that part of my brain. I've always looked at things from different angles.
Yeah.
And being able to come up with the solution for it is a different type of problem solving.
Yeah, okay.
So when I finished my degree, I did a degree in computer science.
Oh.
4-year degree in computer science. Soon as I finished, it was obsolete.
Really?
It was obsolete. Yeah, because it was at the beginning of the .com bust, boom bust. Yeah, so it was all, there is this thing called the internet coming out, and this is how it's going to progress and everything else. So everything that I'd learned to that point was already old. Yeah. So I spent about 4 years in retail, which I don't regret at all, because it gave me a lot of insights into how customers see things and whatnot, which has actually served me during my career. So after 4 years, I still wanted to be creative. So what I did was I did a lot of self-initiated work. So that's where I write my own brief.
Okay.
Yeah, and I give it to myself, and I say, Nene, solve this particular brief, and then put the work on your website. So that's what I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did that, and then got picked up by the in-house creative agency for Lloyd's the bank.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got picked up. Yeah. So I spent 2
Wow.
years with them, and then which is cool. And then afterwards, I went on to work with another big agency called Digitas LBI.
Wow.
And then from there I went freelance, and that was like 20 years ago. Yeah, because I've been in this game for a very long time, about 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what kind of attributes, well, could I say, to becoming an art director? What do you kind of have to have, in a sense?
I think it's a deep curiosity about how things work,
Right.
and a way of looking at the world that is different from how other people might see it. Yeah, I honestly believe that it's not just people who are creative who can be creative. Yeah, it's not just. It's not just, I have that label, therefore I'm the only person who can do it. It's like, no, everyone can be creative. It just takes training, and it just takes experience in order to turn that particular creativity into something that can communicate. Yeah. Because I think one of the biggest things that people have to understand is that art is not the same as, say, design and advertising.
Right.
Art is about expression.
Right.
Which is why one of the reasons it's so subjective. But design and advertising and marketing and PR is all about communication. Yeah. So that's the big difference. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can have something that looks amazing, is really innovative and whatnot, but if it doesn't communicate what you're trying to get it to communicate, then it's failed. It's failed. It's not art where you can do whatever you want and people's interpretation is simply down to them. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So I think for me, and what I look and say like mentees or younger creatives is that inquisitiveness and that being able to look at things from different angles. Can you turn a positive sorry, can you turn a negative into a positive? What happens if we look at it from this point of view? You know, so example, if you have someone who is, road sweeping, you look at it from, they're just road sweeping. It's like, what is it like for the road sweeper? How does he view people walking in the street? You know, can you look at things from different angles and being able to communicate those different angles to people? That's what I think I look for. Yeah.
I see. And who do you feel appreciates your work the most? Is it like clients or I don't know, the wider society, government, colleagues?
Interesting. I think it's going to be a combination of almost all of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I think obviously it's clients first.
Clients first.
Because obviously I provide a service.
So,
I have to be good at what I do, and obviously because of the money they're spending, it's just like I have to produce something which is of high quality and does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So I think those are the ones who appreciate me the most. And then next will be colleagues, because being creative, I don't feel is something you can do in isolation. To a certain extent, because there's times when I've been given a brief and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go off for 2 hours and I'm going to sit and I'm going to brainstorm by myself, and then I'm going to come back. But I'll come back and I'll share my ideas with the rest of the team, and then that's when the ideas start really coming together, because you're getting different viewpoints. So while you can do it in isolation, I don't think it's the best. Personally, I don't think it's the best way to do it. I think collaboration is key. So I'll say my colleagues as well. Wider society, government, everything else, well, it depends if they have a brief for us. You know? If they come to us and like, okay, we need you to help us with the next election, or with this particular issue, or getting people back on London Underground and whatnot, then they'll appreciate us.
I guess you're very important, because again, you mentioned the election, the undergrounds, things that,
and
it's all about persuasion or as you said, inform, remind, and Okay, and is there any misconceptions to your role at all?
Yes, there is. Misconceptions. I think the first one is what I explained to you before about how marketing is different from advertising, different from PR, different from I think I've been to places where the terms are used interchangeably. And because they're not supposed to be used interchangeably, there's a lot of confusion about who should be doing what and how it should be done, and it just causes a bit of a problem. I think the second thing, it's difficult to place value on something you don't quite understand the function for. So I think there have been many times, believe it or not, where we have gone to do design work or come up with ideas, and we've been told that all Nene is going to do is colour it in. We're just like, no, we're doing more than that. Okay, we're doing. It's not about just making it look pretty. Like I said to you before, it has to communicate. It has to say what it needs. It needs to say. And that takes a lot more skill than people realise.
It's very difficult to... exactly.
In particular with branding as well. Branding is a big one. And the brands that get it right, I could make a list of them. Netflix, Nike, Meta. All these people get their branding right because they've spent years on it. So sometimes when I have worked with entrepreneurs, they don't see the value in branding. They're just like, no, I want to get my product out. And I was like, yes, but it's not so much the product that people are going to engage with. It's the brand. It's how you make them feel. It's the values that you're that you need to put across. That is what your audience will engage with. And sometimes it's been difficult explaining to entrepreneurs without this particular background why that is important. Because like, no. Product is good enough, and it's like your product could be awesome, but if it's not packaged correctly, people will just ignore it. It's not a if we build it they will come sort of thing. It doesn't happen like that. You have to present it in a way that's palatable for them.
You don't actually think of that other side. You really don't. Don't when you're
but you engage with it every single day. Every single day. If I go, but you know who I'm talking about, or if I go. You know who I'm talking about. They've spent a lot of time putting that into the ether, put it into people's heads. Like, this particular noise is associated with McDonald's. This particular noise is associated with Netflix. It's not, arbitrary. It's not something that just like, oh, this will be cool.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that's what you
really
yeah,
not.
you know,
Yeah,
that's what you
it's
got
not.
me.
It's not. It has to be there so that there is a connection between the brand and the audience. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very important. Yeah,
So you've been doing this for a long time.
a long time. A
So
long time.
what is the thing that reconfirms that? Yeah, this is what I love. What's the
that's
thing?
nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice question.
Okay,
I like
yeah.
that. That's a nice question. I personally, for me, there is nothing like having an idea that's here, and
and
then
get it out.
literally
Yeah.
seeing it come to life. It's
Wow.
fantastic. It really is. I know I do TVCs and I do billboard designs and come up with concepts for that and everything else. But as an art director, one of my favourite things is to do art direction for either videos or photography.
Oh,
Love that. I absolutely love that. So I can sit down with a photographer and we can come up with an idea, and it's like, okay, we want to turn a color into a person. you know?
Right.
So we'll take like fuchsia pink. What would fuchsia pink be if they were a person and not Barbie? What would they be like? And then we'll come up with the ideas, and then we'll make our mood boards, then we'll hire the models, get the studio, and get the stylist, the makeup artist, all of that stuff, and then we'll shoot, and it's just fantastic. It's that kind of that creation aspect where you have something and it's here and it's not tangible, and then it comes out and it is tangible. You can see the result of your thinking, of your collaboration with your team members, the skill of the people that you're working with. Love it. There's nothing like it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And is there like a particular story, like one story that you always remember that you was a part of or you constructed from the start?
Oh gosh, yeah. There's been many.
Just
yeah,
one. Just one.
yeah. Just one. There's many. I'm trying to think of one of my favorite ones. Okay, all right. There is one. I work very closely with one of my favorite photographers. I can mention who she is, Natalie Gordon. And I remember approaching her a couple of years ago, and we had this idea again with the color thing I just mentioned, to take Pantone's color of the year and turn it into a person. It's like, if we personify this color, what would they look like?
Yeah.
And we went back and forth on the ideas, which, like I said, is always great fun for me. And then we shot it. Yeah, we hired the models. Like I said, we hired the makeup artist who went on to be like a super huge influencer. It's got like millions of followers now. Yeah, millions of followers.
Wow.
And then we just shot it, and we looked at the pictures and everything else, got them sorted out, whatnot, and it was just really lovely work. And it's just, we still look at it now. It's still on her portfolio, it's still on mine, and it's just like, yeah, I love doing this. Yeah, so that's one of my favorite ones that comes to mind. Yeah.
And so how do you have like a portfolio of models and portfolio of people that you would work with?
Yes. 100%, yes. Yeah, I mean, when you work with people over the years, obviously you have your favourites, people that you can rely on again and again to produce the quality of work that you're used to producing.
Right.
But I have a very, very wide network of people I've worked with, like animators, film directors, makeup artists, stylists, photographers is a big one. My photography list is really long.
Really?
Yeah, it's really long. Yeah, worked with so many of them. Yeah, and like I said, I do have my favorites. Yeah, because working with them is I don't have to keep explaining. Oh, I want it to look like this. They get it. Yeah, I'll tell them once and they'll just get it. Yeah, they're like, great. Okay, this is how Nene wants it. Her production values are usually really high. You know, so yeah. So, but yeah, my black book is like that. Yeah, not to brag or anything.
Yeah. So you basically construct the whole thing from your mind and the other person's mind into real life.
Into campaigns and into, like I said, brand activations, which I really do enjoy.
That's amazing.
Brand activations, like I said, can be like physical events that happen outside.
So is that like the only thing I can think of is like a book. Like a book event, like when someone's selling their book and then they do a book.
Oh no! You can have brand activation. Oh, sorry, I love a good brand activation. I really do. So I'll take one I went to recently, right? And that was for The Witcher.
Okay.
But the Netflix
Right.
show, the one with Henry Cavill, right? So what they did is they've done what they call a Witcher tour. So they set up a maze, a reconstruction of the maze from the first episode of season 3.
Okay.
And you can literally walk through it, yeah? And they have kind of like cosplayers there pretending to be mages and bards and different characters from the show. And then they gave away kind of like the Witcher medallions. They gave away ice cream. They had constructed bathhouse sets that you can literally walk through, take pictures of. That's a brand activation, yeah. Right. So it goes beyond just say books or whatnot. It's immersive. That's an immersive experience, yeah. Right. So you enter the world of The Witcher in some form, and brilliant. It was really, really good. Wow. I really enjoyed that. I know the director who worked on because they had these massive screens, which had the top screens had the stars and everything else, and then the screens that ran alongside the walls, they had like the maze along them, so they had like trees and flowers and plants and whatnot. So I know the director who actually put that together. Wow. So I went down to see him, and I went down to see the activation as well. It was great. Wow. I put it on LinkedIn. It was fabulous. Yeah. So, and then if you take another one, say example, House of the Dragon.
Okay.
The Game of Thrones prequel. Yeah, for that they had, I can't remember if it was here or in America, where they had a reconstruction of the Iron Throne. And they had people just come in, or you just sit on the Iron Throne and just take a picture on the Iron Throne and keep going, and then they give you all these kind of like memorabilia. You can have 4,000 people go through there.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I can see the importance of that.
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, and
it's
fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and it reminds people, okay, cool, this show is coming out. And I got a chance to kind of, get involved with it in a small scale, actually step literally into the world, and yeah, fans love it. They absolutely love it. And I love coming up with those ideas. Those are cool.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to another part of the show. It's a rapid fire.
Okay.
It's just three questions. So have a pick a choice, or yes or no.
Okay. Pick a choice or yes or no.
Yeah. Pick a choice or yes or no.
All right.
Okay. So for our first question.
Yep.
In your opinion, do you feel in order for a campaign to be successful, it has to go viral?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, that's actually a really good question. Yeah, a really good question. It will be good if it does,
right? And
I can tell you the reasons for that. Right. Because obviously for a particular advert to be placed somewhere, so for example, for it to go into a billboard or to go say on Facebook or Instagram, costs money. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But if it goes viral, you get a lot more bang for your buck, basically, because it's spread by word of mouth, which is great for a brand. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Absolutely great for a brand. So that's like the gold standard going viral.
Right.
But it's lightning in a bottle. It's very difficult to do so.
Okay.
So to answer the question, no. But it's great if it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Great question. Yeah. Really good question. Yeah.
So for our second question. In your projects, do you prefer to focus on emotionally impactful themes or concepts that push boundaries?
Oh, that's a great question. Unfortunately, it depends on the brief. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If a client wants something that is the former, so that is the emotional kind of like the emotions of the communications to come across, then that is what we have to go for.
Right.
If I do my own briefs, then it's the latter.
It's push boundaries.
It's push boundaries.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's plenty of scope for crossover. You do come across some brands and some clients who will be like, look, this is what we've been doing for the past 30 years. Can we have something a bit different? Yeah. Okay. And that's where you can really kind of what I call evolve the brand as it were, or evolve the communications. It's not always the case. So so you can come across ones who want both. There's an intersectionality between both. But in terms of pushing the boundaries, I tend to try and do that on my own work. And again, if the brief requires the emotional aspect of it to come out, then that's what we will go for. Yeah.
Okay. But for yourself, it'll be more.
Yeah. I'd like to push. Yeah. Because then there's no budget constraints. It's like, I could put something on the moon. It's fine. But unfortunately, there's always a set budget we have to work with clients, and it has to fit within that budget. So we can't always go crazy. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Yeah.
All right.
Great question, though.
All
Great
right.
question. Yeah.
So for our final question, to stimulate your creativity, what do you lean more towards? Conversations with colleagues or hands-on creative exercises?
Good question. I tend to do both.
Okay.
I do both. If I have a particular brief, like I told you before, I can do some of it in isolation, so it's just by myself.
Yeah.
But I enjoy talking with my colleagues because we can bounce ideas off each other. And like I said, everyone sees things from different viewpoints, and you can end up putting those viewpoints together to come up with really cool ideas. But I think creativity, in terms of my own kind of like creative exercises, as it were, it's more about what you take in. It's more about what I take in. So I'm deeply curious about lots of different things. So I read a lot. I play lots of games, anime, films, anything that has a narrative, and anything that has a visual look and feel. So I can watch something like, say, Sin City, which is, comic book based, and it's all black and white with pops of color. Or I can watch something from, say, Studio Ghibli, which is all flat 2D animation, but it's beautifully rendered, and it's all about the craft and the detail and the motion. So it depends. So to fuel creativity, it's a lot about what you take in, basically, because the more you take in, the better your ideas will be, because you've got more to draw on.
Okay. So it would be more. So if you have to pick a choice, it's either speaking with colleagues or actually doing.
Oh, you can't make me choose. You can't. I'll go for speaking with colleagues.
Okay.
I enjoy talking with people, so let's go with that.
Cool.
I like my combo answers better.
Right. So for our final questions, what do you feel that your biggest contribution is into the wider society, in a sense?
Oh gosh, wow, that's a loaded question. I would say, because of the nature of what I do, the contribution, especially, is with informing and raising awareness of different issues. I mean, some of the issues that and some of the campaigns I've had to work on have been difficult. For example, I've done work with Macmillan Cancer Research, where it was like there was a service that was set up as a way of remembering people who had passed away from cancer. So the campaign was to let people know that this service is actually there. Right. So that was hard. And then I recently did a campaign a couple of years ago where we had to change the perception of black hair in the workplace because it was deemed unprofessional. Dreads, locks, natural hair was deemed unprofessional. And lots of women were dealing with this particular pressure to have like straight hair or covered up hair in the workplace. So that particular campaign was to subvert that particular assumption. Yeah. So that's, I think, some of the ways that, when I do a campaign, that is some of the things that we can inform people of, or remind them of, or persuade them of, that helps them to understand things from a slightly different angle, especially when it comes from a marginalized community. And I do kind of like working on those briefs because the insights for them are different, and there are things that people from the black community struggle with that the wider community have no idea of.
And where would you feel society will be without art directors?
Without art directors, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one because, like I said, art directors come in different flavors, so they do different things in different parts of the creative industry. Now with the rise of AI, it'll be like, so you can tell an AI, I want something to look like X, Y, and Z. The only thing is, with AI, you have to tell it what to do. Right, yeah. So for me, I'm hoping that the currency for working with AI is the ability to come up with the ideas. And only the humans can do that. Yeah. And it comes from a spectrum of things. So my own lived experience, what I'm into, who I've interacted with, how I grew up, all of that combinates in different ideas that I can come and feed into the machine. So hopefully AI won't replace art direction, because we still need ideas and we still need ideas in terms of how things look and how things communicate.
Yeah. And do you feel anything is kind of missing from your profession?
Oh yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yes. More people that look like me at the top. I'll be straight up. Honestly, I've been in advertising for, this is my 20th or 21st year, I forget.
Oh.
And people at my particular level, so senior director, becomes less and less especially black female women, the further up that you go. Yeah, I know that seems to be across quite a few industries, but obviously because it's advertising, it's more pronounced for me. And there is a kind of drop off when female creatives get to kind of like the mid-weight level, so they've been it between 5 and 8 years, and they come out of it because
really?
Yeah,
because it's hard to
progress. It's hard to keep going up. There's lots of different things to deal with, microaggressions and all of this different things to deal with. It's a difficult, it can be a difficult environment to work in. It's very high pressure. It's very fast paced as well. And you have to really do your best to remain current and relevant. Yeah, especially what is happening in the world with trends and whatnot. So I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more mid-weight creatives push through that kind of like glass, stone, concrete ceiling, whatever you want to call it, to a more director C-suite level. Yeah, because then people can see that, you know, they can get as far up the ladder as possible. Yeah.
And do you see your profession progressing in any way?
I think hopefully, and one of the things I want to see is more collaboration between the different streams of the creative industries. So like I said, mine's advertising, animation, PR, film. There's all of those different creative strands have their own type of art direction. And it'll be nice to see a little bit more interconnectivity between them. They can be quite siloed. Yeah, so it's like animation will just be doing its thing over here, and it's only if we have an ad that requires animation would we go over to an animation studio to get it done. So it would be nice to have more of that type of collaboration. Also, I think audio is going to be really big. I think audio is going to be really, really big.
Really?
Yeah. It's a different type of creative medium, isn't it? Because there's no visuals. It's all sound, yeah. And I've seen some amazing, like, award-winning work that just focuses on audio, like working with Alexa or on Spotify, where it's just literally just sound. Yeah. So that is, I think at the moment it's not being utilized as much as it could be.
That's interesting.
But hopefully it will kind of pick up now. You have Siri, like I said, and Alexa and whatnot. No visuals, but you'll be able to tell it, Alexa, play me something from here, or connect me to something like here, and that just opens up a completely new creative realm. So I think audio, I think that would be nice to see pick up.
That's interesting. And is there any way to find you? What do you like?
LinkedIn is my place where I'm hanging out at the moment. Yeah, so I tend to jump from social media to social media.
Right.
Instagram for a few years, Twitter maybe for 5 minutes, and then I'm on LinkedIn at the moment. So if you just type in Nene, there's not that many. Actually, no, there's more Nenes than I realised. Actually, I met one the other month actually. But if you put Nene P into LinkedIn, you'll find me. Yeah, and all my commentary on the creative industry. Yeah.
It's been absolutely a pleasure having you, learning about your industry, learning about what you've done, your experiences.
Thank you.
It's just been amazing.
Thank you. And thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
No, it's been a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine. And thank you all for watching.